YouTube is live. Let's see if I can get live over here. Come on. Yes, here's my face. Go. Still have a cutting off my head problem on YouTube. Oh, it's new. All right. Well, you don't really need to see the top of my head, right? All right. So the dogs are a little wound up. Come on. Come inside. Come on. So let's. Hey, you. In. Yeah, because that would be fun to watch for an hour, right? All right. So they can be lunatics out there. All right, we good to go? Who's with me this morning? Hello, YouTube. And Sandy. Good morning, Sandy. All right, you guys. So we've got just a couple of minutes, but I'll talk. I love to talk some days. So happy New Year. Happy 2022. Let's see what this year brings, right? But I mean, we talked about this a little bit in November. You can pick any day to start fresh, right? So if maybe you haven't had a great first week of the year, meaningless, right? I've got some friends who came down with COVID this past week, and yay, we started off 2021 with COVID. So doesn't matter though, right? It doesn't mean anything for the next 52 weeks, 51 weeks, right? So anytime you want to start fresh, you just go right ahead and start fresh. Pretend. If it makes you feel better, pretend that it's a new year, right? But having said that, January is kind of the time, right? And whether you start on January 1st or January 8th, it just is what it is, right? Whenever we kind of get our butts out of bed and get in that mind frame. So it happens anytime. Normally at the beginning of the year, because there are so many people that are maybe just getting back on track, or people that are starting fresh from scratch, I keep things pretty basic. So that's what we'll do today. Right? We're going to focus on the minutia. So even if you haven't fallen off your practice, right, it's always really helpful and important to focus on the small things that make your pose what it is, right? So I know some teachers who will say, okay, warrior two. And now granted, if you've practiced a million years, you know what warrior two is, but where's your foot? Where's the knee? Did you pay attention to any of that when you moved into the pose? Maybe. Right? Or maybe you just put yourself there. So we're going to place every pose ideally from the bottom up. So whatever your foundation is the most important thing, and that's what you think about first. And then you stack and you stack and you stack until whatever the pose looks like is there. Right? So that's kind of the idea. Where you take that in your practice today is up to you, right? So if you're brand new, you need to know, okay, my toes are pointing this way and this is where my knee is. And if you're a little bit more practiced, you just kind of look down and go, yeah. Or no, right? Sometimes no. It's not where I thought it was. So again, where you put that in your practice, it's different for everybody. And that's one of the nice things about practicing from home is that you don't have to compare yourself to anybody. So if you are that newer practitioner and you're still kind of feeling your way in, or if you're someone who is maybe nursing an injury or something that you need to really listen to what your body is doing and not worry about what someone else is doing, this is perfect for that, right? You don't have that outside distraction. Right? It's all you, all here. So let's go ahead and get started then. And of course, your foundation here is the heels aligned as much as they can be. And then the pelvis is upright. So pretty much anywhere you are, whether you're standing on your head or standing on your feet or sitting on your bottom, your pelvis should be in a pretty neutral position, right? Or even if you're in, say, plank. So engage the belly, the lower belly, lifting the pelvic floor, lower belly in and up. We're tall through the sides. And then release your inner hips. And if that's what is helping you stay upright, hang on, right? And do a little pull so the pelvis is upright. Or sit on the block. That's better. Relax your shoulders down the sides of your body here. If you find them kind of falling in towards your chest, pull them back. And for a while, it may feel like, I don't know, like you're standing at attention maybe. Bad idea. Only the chest is lifted without being tight. Go ahead and close your eyes here. And feel as if you're moving the bottom tips of your ears back. And you're going to feel a place where your head comes right over your shoulders and your neck is going to kind of go. Maybe not this morning, but after a long day at work, say. And just take a moment and kind of check in and notice the muscles that are working and what feels like it's working really hard and what feels like, all right, this is aligned and it's all good. So we use the lower abdominals to stay engaged, so we can use the upper abdominals when we breathe. Okay? So beginning to focus on your breath, notice where you breathe. You breathe more into your chest, or you breathe a little bit into your belly. Are your inhales longer than your exhales, or vice versa? And sometimes when we start to watch our breath, weird things happen, right? It's not natural anymore. See if you can observe what is naturally occurring. Taking the next exhale, get really, really empty. Pull your upper abdominals in toward the spine so the diaphragm lifts and your lungs empty out as much as they possibly can. And then as you inhale, let the upper belly poke out a little bit, drawing the air deep into the lungs. And then do it again. Pull the belly in really tight and get as empty as you can be. Inhaling. And exhaling. And you can even use your hand on your belly if that works. Or just feeling it kind of rise and fall. Do that again. Inhale deep into your lungs, letting your upper belly poke out. But you still got space, right? So imagine getting wide through your side ribs. And then when you exhale, you're pulling your side ribs back in, pulling the belly back in toward the spine to get empty. So again, like that. Inhaling deep and wide. And then exhaling as you squeeze the rib cage back together, pull the belly toward the spine. Let's do that again. Inhaling deep into the belly, wide into the sides. Exhaling it away. This time, inhale deep and wide. And then continue to inhale until you couldn't take another sip of air. So you feel full of air from the belly all the way up to the top of your throat. And then imagine exhaling from the top, through the middle, to the bottom. So again, fill it up, bottom to top. Tons of space in there. Exhaling. One more time like that. So keeping that idea, cut it back so it's a little bit more manageable, but still using all of that space in the lungs. Let's go ahead and extend the arms out to the sides, and with that next inhale, lift the arms up. And then exhale, bring them back down again. Let's do it again like that. One more time. Sitting up nice and tall here, so your foundation is still set, your spine is long, shoulders and hips are still relaxed, yeah? Big breath. Taking the left hand to the right knee, right hand behind the back. Easy, gentle little twist. Notice if you feel like you've leaned or shifted. Staying in the center. And then we're going to release that, coming back to the middle. Take your second side. Same idea. Just a nice, easy little twist. Let's come back to the center again. Taking that first side. So upright on the pelvis, tall through the spine, relax through your hips and shoulders, yeah? Taking the left hand to the knee, right knee. Using your right hand like a second spine. So push into the floor. Kind of let it support your spine. And then pulling against the knee, imagine rotating your belly button to the right. Your right side ribs toward the back of the mat. Drawing the right shoulder back and maybe even looking over the shoulder. Again, check in. Are you still upright on your pelvis? Can you sit taller? Are you breathing? Let's gently release that. Feel like you're unwinding. And then move to the second side. So using the arms, staying with the foundation of the pelvis and the spine as you wind around on this second side. Let's gently release back to the middle again here. And then from there, we're going to bring ourselves around onto hands and knees. And we're going to be on the hands and knees for a little while. So if you need to cushion your knees or your hands, feel free. But then be just as particular about your foundation here. So 4 corners of the hands, spreading the fingers wide, middle finger pointing forward here. Wrists under shoulders as much as your shoulders will tolerate that. If it's a little stressful, you can bring them forward a bit. Knees underneath the hips, hip bone distance apart. Your belly's still working here. So moving it through cat-cows on an inhale, we're going to drop the belly toward the floor, pulling the shoulders together on the back. And then exhale and round your spine toward the ceiling. Tuck your tailbone, spread your shoulder blades, tuck your chin. And then just follow your breath in and out like that. Nice and gentle, up and down the spine. Connected to those big breaths. Take one more flow like that, moving in as deep as you can for now. And then making your way to a center. So tall spine here, belly still engaged, long spine. Doesn't feel tall here, does it? So let's extend the right leg straight back. We want to flex the foot, press through the heel, making that leg active. So your leg is active, your belly is active. From there, stretch the left arm forward. And reach away from the body, feeling when the muscles engage, feeling how it's a little bit easier to hold yourself here, right? Than if you get all kind of sloppy and lazy, right? Feeling it? We're going to release that side. And then do the same thing on the second side. So extend your left leg, flex your foot, toes point down at the floor, feeling the hamstring do the work, right? When you're ready, the right arm stretches forward. How's your foundation? What's going on in the left hand? Feeling pretty stable over the right knee. Let's release that side. We're going to go back to the first side and add on. So extend right leg and the left arm again. Stretching away from the body, take the arm over to the left and bring the leg around to the right. Hold here. Press through your heels, stretch through your fingertips. How's your foundation? Are you breathing? Release the hands to the floor. We're going to take the toes over to the side here and come up on the left knee. So cushion your knee if you feel like you need. Heel in line with the hip here. We're going to lift the left arm up and take it over. Keeping the shoulder drawn back, maybe look toward the ceiling, belly supporting here. With an inhale, we're going to come back up to the top and release the hands to the floor. So the hands are engaged, right? Belly's working. Lift your right foot up off the floor without shifting your body over a whole bunch, right? Try and keep it in the middle. The arms are even as much as they can be. You're breathing. So it doesn't take high, right? We're going to take the leg back and bring it down again. So second side, same idea. Left leg and right arm. Making the muscles work, reaching away from the body, and then taking it off to the sides. Take the hand back to the floor. We're going to take the toes over to the side and come up on the right knee. So readjust if you need, if everything didn't land exactly where you wanted it to. Bringing the right arm up and over. Take another big breath. And then we'll lift back up again and release the hands. So staying in this center, simply lift the left toes. And then take the leg back, release the knee to the floor. One more time here. Extend your right leg and left arm. This time, bend your knee. Take the hand and see if you can reach back and find your foot. So working with your balance, working with the quad stretch here, if that's all good. Keep the knee pointing down at the floor rather than letting it sling out to the side. You can press your foot into your hand to add a little, lift the toes a little maybe. Feeling stable on the right hand. Let's release that, stretching long. And then take it down, hand and knee. Working to the second side. So left leg and right arm when you're ready. Bending the knee and finding the foot over here. Take your time with each little piece. Feel where the things start to shift. So if there's a catch with your balance, take a second, find it, and move on. Opening a little deeper if you can, cutting it back a little bit if you need. And then releasing that, stretch out long again. And come on down, hand and knee. Nice and easy here. Go ahead and sit your hips back. And we're going to come into child's pose. So make yourself comfortable here. It is the first one. And letting your arms stretch out long. Shoulder width apart, just like we were on hands and knees, right? Spreading the fingers. Let's go ahead and lift the knees away from the mat. And we're going to come to down dog. Allowing yourself to wiggle and stretch into it. So take your time here. Maybe you want to shift forward and back, planks to down dog. Bicycle your heels toward the floor, shift your hips. Whatever it might be. And as you begin to settle in, think about your hands, like your feet, pressing down into the four corners. Morning, guys. And then shifting the weight back. Press your chest toward your thighs, your heels toward the floor. Your chest is certainly not going to touch your thighs, and your heels may not touch the floor. Don't worry. Staying strong here. Belly's in. Notice when you pull your belly in, if you let it go, it helps you get a little lift. Let's lift the right leg. Keep everything else as it is. If the body wants to shift or the knees bend or some crazy thing like that, try and find your center again. And when you extend through both heels, you should feel a little bit different stretch there, yeah? Keep the rest of the body doing what it's doing and open your right hip. So you might find your right shoulder lifts too, put it back down. And then maybe bend at your knee and point the knee toward the ceiling-ish. Four corners of the hands, pressing your chest back. The left heel is reaching for the floor. Let's release that side. And move to the second side. So begin by simply lifting the left leg. Take your time back there. A lot of times if you lift too fast, momentum gets you. Right? So move intentionally, keeping the hips square, pressing the chest back. And then open your left hip. Bending the knee if you like. Check in, head hanging between the arms. And then we're going to release that side. Let's go ahead and drop back down to the knees for just a second, sitting back in your child's pose. And then let's shift forward, coming to a kneeling plank here. So check in. Make sure you feel like your knees are in alignment, your shoulders are neutral on the back, the spine is long. And a lot of times we get into planks and the head hangs, pulling the head in line with the spine. Notice the four corners of your hands, keeping them even. We're going to begin by simply bending the elbows to bring them in line with the rib cage. So keeping the elbows hugging in toward the body. Notice if your bum is stuck out or your pelvis is hung on the floor, find center. And then keeping that idea, drop to the floor so everything comes to the mat together. It takes a little bit of practice, so don't worry if it wasn't perfect. Hands next to the side ribs here. We're just going to hug our elbows in. And imagine bringing your elbows together on your back. It doesn't really literally happen, but you get the idea. And then roll your shoulders up by your ears, together on your back, and down towards your hip bones. So the chest kind of curls away from the floor. If you're feeling your lower back, press the pelvis down into the mat or stop doing what you're doing. Don't want to pinch anything up back there. Allow yourself to breathe here. Shoulders away from the ears, elbows into the waist. And then release back down. So we're going to lift up the same way we went down. Keeping your elbows in, press into your knees to just almost lift the belly up off the floor. Not quite. And then press into your hands, lift your chest so that everything comes in line with the elbows and rib cage here. And then all the way up, sitting back into your child's pose again. Let's lift back to down dog. From our down dog this time, stepping the feet forward, lift hands to a standing fold. So feet are hip bone distance apart, toes point forward. And then we're just gonna walk in place a little bit here. So bend into one knee, pressing into the opposite heel, switching sides back and forth like that. Just noticing how the hamstrings will release a little bit. And then let's come to a center, bending the knees enough that your belly will touch the thighs. So maybe you have to bend a lot, maybe you only bend a little, whatever. From there, taking the arms behind the legs, wrap around, and squeeze your belly to your thighs, but not the thighs toward each other. Keep that, and see if you can take your legs straighter. Whatever that means to you, maybe they're straight, maybe they're not still. Let your head hang. We'll take another big breath. And then release that. Leave the bend in the knees here if you feel more comfortable with that. Take the fingers to interlace behind your lower back. Pull the shoulder blades together on the back. And then stretch the knuckles away. So knuckles away from shoulders, shoulders away from ears, keeping that length. Maybe the hands lift up off the lower back. If you hyperextend your elbows, the stretch disappears. I don't know why, but it does. So keep a gentle little bend in the elbows here. Nice big breath. And then we'll release. Taking your legs straight. So if you don't touch your hands, it doesn't really matter because we're sliding them up to the thighs. Pressing away, bring the upper body parallel to the floor. So that might be a lot like your full fold, right? If your hamstrings are a little short. Lean with the hands on the thighs if you need, but try not to lean with your hips behind your heels. And for a little while, it might feel like you're gonna fall on your face, but I've never seen that happen, so you're probably right. Keeping the shoulders back, the belly in here, roughly 90-degree bend in the hip, right? Bend into the knees and sit back to chair. So the knees in line with the feet. Pelvis is in that neutral place, right? Like we talked about before. And you can hang on, you can come center, you can extend with the arms. The hands are really not important to what's happening here. Four corners of the feet. Pelvis is upright. Shoulders are down and back. And you're breathing, right? Let's take another big breath. And with an inhale, stretch to the ceiling. And then release the arms. All right, so let's move into some sun salutes here. Be sure to follow your breath. Take an extra breath here if you need, here or there. Okay. Modify if you need to modify anything. With an inhale, we're going to stretch the arms up. And on the exhale, take yourself over into a fold. Halfway up with the inhale. Exhaling, step yourself back into plank. So you can certainly be on the knees like we were before. If that's you, we're lowering to the floor, everything to the floor together. Inhale and roll in through your shoulders like we did earlier, and then release everything up off the floor together, back to down dog. Inhaling, step forward fold. Next inhale, we come halfway up. Exhale over again. And then lift all the way up, reaching to the ceiling. Exhaling at the top. So that's the basics of it. Right? You can make it harder or easier, right, at any point. So we're going to do one more like that. Inhaling as you lift. And exhaling over into the fold. Coming halfway up. Exhaling, step back, plank. Dropping to the belly. Inhaling as you roll into cobra. You can use your arms a little bit more this time, keeping the elbows in, up and back, down dog. And then inhaling forward, fold. Halfway up. And back over. All the way up. And release. So we're going to do one more, and we're going to throw a couple of things in, making sure that you're still doing what's right for your body and moving intentionally, right? Even as we're speeding this up a little bit. So let's inhale this time into a chair. And then exhale into your fold. Halfway up. Back to your plank, then all the way down to the belly. Inhaling as you roll, pull, maybe a little press into your cobra. Exhaling up and back, down dog. We're going to step the right foot forward to a lunge. Toes to the fingers. Okay? You can drop your back knee or the back heel. We're going to lift all the way up. Exhale, come on back down again. Step back to down dog. Shift forward into plank, inhaling. Exhale, down to the belly. Inhale for cobra. Back to down dog. Left foot stepping forward. Be sure to get your toes all the way up there. Heel or knee to the mat as you lift. Exhale, back on down, down dog. Forward into plank. Drop it down. Roll for cobra. And then back, down dog. So you're going to hold your down dog or drop on down into child's pose. And if you're not sure what to do, ask your breath. What's it doing? Is it flowing smooth like it did when we were seated? Or is it kind of huffy and puffy? Somewhere in the middle, maybe. Taking another big breath. If you did drop down, lift back to your down dog. And on an inhale, step the feet forward and fold. With the next inhale, we come halfway up. Fold back over again. Sit into chair as you inhale. Hands where they need to be. And then exhale, releasing to the top. And we are done with that. So let's take a short little step back with the right foot. And I want to have all 10 toes pointing forward. So if it feels a little bit too much like you're on a balance beam, right? Open your feet up. And you don't want to go much wider than your hip bones, but it'll help with the stability. So bending into the right left knee. The right heel stays grounded. We'll ask for the hips to the top of the mat. And then maybe reach the arms up toward the ceiling. Keeping the shoulders relaxed. You can look up as long as you're not jutting your chin toward the ceiling. Keeping the arms kind of in line with the ears there. Ears in line with the arms, really. And then just adjusting. Finding the four corners of your feet. Maybe as you hold, you can bend into the knee a little more. Find where it is, because it's not always where you start. we're going to open up into warrior two. So arms parallel to the floor, left arm over left leg. Here you can open your right toes out to the side more and probably open your feet wider. Probably. Check in that you see just your left big toe, stacking the knee and ankle. Do you feel even on the four corners of your feet, or did you sort of lean over to the inside of that back foot? Sometimes we roll to the outside, so find the middle. Hips are level, shoulders are right over the hips. Arms are parallel to the floor. Especially that back one. Sometimes it doesn't go where we think it does. So let's take the right hand to the back of the thigh. Left palm's going to turn toward the ceiling. We're going to reach up. And then drawing the shoulders together on the back. So that left shoulder drops a little bit. The chest might lift toward the ceiling. A little bit of a back bend here. Let's come back to warrior two, right in the middle. Bend the left arm, rest the forearm on the thigh, bring the right arm up and over the ear. Sinking into your hips. Lean on the thigh if you feel like you need to lean, but only as much as you need to lean. So you don't have to thump into it if you're not there. Still nice and even on the feet. Take one more breath here. And then release. Let's come over into a lunge. We're going to step back to our down dog. Shifting forward, come to plank. On the knees if you like, down to the belly. Rolling into your cobra. And then releasing back to down dog. We'll walk the feet forward, back to the standing fold. Take a little bend into the knees. With an inhale, roll up through your spine. And we'll work our second side. So that short step back with the left foot. Check out your feet. Make sure the 10 toes point forward. Opening the feet as wide as you need so you feel pretty stable. When you're ready, bending into the right knee. And then adjusting, right? It's not always the same. So the feet are level or even, the hips are square, maybe the arms reach. Taking your time, building that pose from the bottom up. Every time. Every time. Helps to keep the mind present. Focus on what you're doing instead of wandering off. And from here, opening up into warrior two. Letting that back foot open. Looking for the big toe, the right big toe here. Feeling even with the weight on your feet. Let's take the left hand to the back of the thigh. Right palm turns toward the ceiling. We're going to reach it up and drop the shoulder. Opening the chest. Back into your warrior two. Bending the right arm, rest the forearm, left arm over the ear. Check in, still feeling pretty even on your feet. And then we'll release it, coming into our lunge. Last time, stepping back for down dog. Inhaling as you shift forward into plank. Dropping down. Rolling into cobra. And then releasing back to down dog. Again, here, stepping the feet forward into standing fold. bending into the knees into chair. So hands supporting, center extended, wherever makes you happy. But instead of being on the four corners of the feet this time, come up on the toes. Take another big breath. Stay on your toes if you can. Inhale, stretch to the ceiling. And then exhale, release your arms and your heels. And hopefully that was all smooth and graceful and beautiful. So we're going to take a standing balance here. If you want to be off your mat or near a wall, feel free to move so that you can focus on where your body is rather than falling down the whole time. So we're going to take all the weight over into the left foot, lifting the right knee up. Keep the hips square and start to open your right knee. So again, if you fling, your hips might do this crazy thing, right? So find where your hips can be square and this knee is as open as it's going to get. Bring the foot to the inside of the left leg. So anywhere but on your knee joint, you might need your toes on the floor. Or conversely, you can pull the foot up to the inner thigh. So wherever you're going to push your foot into the leg and the leg back into the foot for the stability. That's why you don't want to be on your knee joint. Tuck the tailbone, stand tall. The palms really come to touch. And you can extend, staying together or open at the top. If that's boring, you can look up. Changing the gaze changes the game, doesn't it? And you're going to find that you are wobbling all over on that left foot. So what? You're not falling down, right? Let's take another big breath. We're going to bring it back to center. And release. Second time. Let's do it. All the weight over to the right. Lifting the left. Keeping the hips square as you open. And then bringing the foot to where it needs to be over here. So check it out. Play. Is this all right? Can I go deeper? Should I come out a little bit? No. Don't let your ego get in the way. Listen to what your body is telling you. So hug the legs together, feeling the hips square. The pelvis is in this neutral position, right? All the time. And the hands go where the hands go. Feeling the steadiness of your breath. Steadiness of your gaze. And then we'll bring it back in and release. All right. So let's go inhale, reaching the arms up. Take yourself over into a fold. And stepping back to down dog. Drop on down to the knees and sit back into a child's pose. Let's shift forward, coming to our kneeling plank again. So finding where you're even on the four corners of the hands, the belly's in, the shoulders are neutral on the back, right? From here, I'm going to face this way just so you can see what's happening. This right foot over to the right side of the mat, and then we're going to open the body to the left. So you're on the right hand, right knee, with the left toes at the back, and at least the left side of your body looks as if you were standing up. So belly's in, shoulders and hips are stacked. Maybe reach the left arm toward the ceiling. Maybe lift the left leg. Take the arm over the ear, stretch toward the wall in front of you. Keeping the shoulder drawn back, maybe look toward the ceiling. And then we're going to release that, come back to your kneeling plank. And we'll switch sides. So the left foot then to the left, opening the body to the right. So 4 corners of the left hand, hips and shoulders are stacked. Use your belly, lifting the leg, maybe lifting the arm over. Play and see where your body feels like it needs to stretch. Big breaths. And then we're releasing that back to our kneeling plank again. Sitting back to the heels, take child's pose. Let's come to sit up on the heels. And then bring the legs around front. Back to our seated position, this time with the legs extended out long. And then just check in. Where's your foundation? Feet hip bone distance apart, toes are pointing toward the ceiling. Legs are straight. Pelvis is level, so if you need a little adjustment on the pelvis, take that. And then the spine is tall, shoulders are down and back. So you can add in arms if you want, but it's completely unnecessary. So reaching toward the ceiling if that's you, leaving the hands back at the hips here maybe. Hinge forward. And imagine drawing your belly button toward your thighs. And once the belly button is on, is laying on the legs there, imagine taking the sternum, the chest here, toward your toes. And if you touch your toes, lovely, right? But remember, that's not the goal. And just notice as you hold, first of all, that you're breathing. And notice if you can become either more aligned or maybe take the pose a little deeper. So sometimes as you adjust, you find, oh, that release was something, you can go a little deeper, right? Take one more breath here. With an inhale, making your way back up. Let's bring the soles of the feet together. And we will be rocking back, so if you're far to the back of your mat, you might want to scoot forward a little bit. So soles of the feet together, draw the heels toward the groin. And then using the elbows, maybe gently press them down around the inner thigh, down toward the floor. Maybe hinging forward a little bit, belly button toward the heels. And if you are using your arms, making sure that we're back at the hip rather than down at the knee. The hip is what needs to release to get the knees to the floor. And if the knees never touch the floor, don't panic. Mine either. We're going to take one more breath here. And then hinge back up again. Keep hanging on to your ankles. Keep hinging up and lean back and up the nose. So you can definitely hang on to your legs wherever, kind of thing. But release your ankles and bring your knees together. So again, you can be hanging on kind of wherever you need to, right? Squeeze your knees together like crazy. Make sure your upper belly is soft so you can still breathe into it, right? Open your knees and squeeze the soles of your feet together. Again, maybe hang on if you have to hang on, but squeeze your legs together. Squeeze your knees. And then squeeze your feet. Let's do it one more time. Knees. And then the feet again. Hang on. your chin, C-curve your spine, and rock on down to your back. I'm just going to turn around. You don't have to. Keeping the soles of the feet together, let them come to the floor. And then release your lower belly. See if you can release the inner hip here. And we'll bring the knees back together. We'll hug the knees into the chest and just allow yourself to rock a little bit. So feeling the floor massage the back. And it changes whether you bring the knees a little closer to the chest or a little further away, right? So let's take the feet flat to the floor again. And we're going to cross the left ankle over the right knee, reaching back behind the thigh here and releasing the fingers. So keep your feet flexed. Press the left hip open a little bit with the left elbow there. Feel that? And then draw the right leg in towards your chest. And you're probably going to notice a place where if you keep pulling in, maybe your pelvis lifts up off the floor, or you rock over into the left hip, or maybe the right hip even. Right? Noticing where the body shifts to make the adjustment and help, right? But it's not really helping. So we're going to keep the arms pulling in, but now use the leg to push back into the hands. And as you push away, see if you can find neutral again. Take one more breath here like that. And then release, taking both feet flat to the floor. So switching sides then, let's cross the right ankle over the left knee, reach back behind the left thigh here and do the same thing. So we're pressing the right leg away a little bit, pull the left leg in. And as you pull it in, find that spot. How does the body adjust? Where does it adjust, right? So where does this left leg need to be before the body starts to get all kind of whacked out? Keeping the arms pulling in. Use the leg to start to press back away and see if you can find neutral again. One more big breath here. And then we're going to release that, both feet flat to the floor. Let's go ahead and open the arms out into a T position. Pick your hips up and take them to the left edge of your mat. Knees fall to the right. So just check in that your spine still feels nice and long. And relax your legs. Right? So maybe they touch the floor and maybe they don't. Sometimes this left shoulder likes to pull up a little bit. Just relax it. If it touches or doesn't. And take a second to notice if you're holding tension anywhere. Maybe it's your shoulders. For me, sometimes I squeeze my bottom hip for some reason. Release into it as deeply as you can. And if you still feel like you need a little bit more, maybe extend your left leg, taking your toes over towards your right hand. And they don't have to touch the hand to feel the difference, right? Just letting the leg kind of fall and relax to the side. Even here, let it be just heavy. And if the leg isn't completely straight, let it bend a little bit. Relax. One more breath on this side. And then we'll bend back at the knee and come on back to the middle. So finding that center and then switching sides, so the hips to the right and the knees to the left. Keeping aligned and then releasing every little muscle. Maybe it's your jaw, right? So that has nothing to do with the twist. You still sometimes tend to squeeze for some crazy reason. Let it go. And then maybe extending the right leg, adding in that little extra. If you need extra, sometimes the body's like, no, this is cool. One more nice big breath over here. And then we'll release that, coming back to center again. Gently draw the knees back to the chest and let yourself rock. Squeeze the knees squeeze your forehead toward your knees. And then release that full body stretch. Use every muscle here, really engage. And then let go. Bring the arms back down by your sides. If you're more comfortable with your feet flat on the floor, or maybe a seated meditation position, and you can be supported maybe up against a wall if that's where you want to be. Allow the body to come to a place that's going to be very comfortable. Check in that you feel aligned. And then let go. Release the muscles. Release control of the breath. And most importantly, release any random thought that wanders into your brain. Let it wander right back out. Keeping the mind present. And just as relaxed as your body is for just a few minutes here. Slowly draw in a deep, cleansing breath, and then let it all go. Restoring small movements to your body first. Allow yourself to wiggle and stretch. When you're ready, bringing the feet flat to the floor, keeping your eyes closed and your mind quiet as you slowly make your way back up to seated. Bringing the palms to touch, bowing to the light within. Namaste. Ear yoga. I hope you guys enjoyed that. I'm really trying to increase my online exposure this year. That's my goal. So if you have friends that you want to share this with, people that you think might enjoy it, feel free to share. If you didn't love it, I would love to hear some constructive feedback. If there's some little things that are glitchy or whatever, please let me know. And otherwise, enjoy the day. If you are in Florida, it looks like it's going to be amazing out there. And if you're somewhere cold, stay cuddled up underneath the blankets or go play in the snow if you have snow. All right, you guys, Happy New Year, and I can't wait to see you next week. Bye. Thanks, guys. Thanks, Cheryl. Love you, girl.